Sunrise and Salt TV, another blissful moment on television.
All right, a very good morning and welcome to Sunrise and Salt Television. I'm Laura Amaze, and it's a beautiful week, although a very sad one. I mean, yesterday I was, in fact, I don't even know how to start this day. Because when you look at what is happening in the country and then there's no more safe place anywhere in the country, it becomes a very serious source of concern. But however, we're not going to be doing this alone. I'm in the studio here with Sunday Ndugwe, and of course I also have a Kene Israel Mbam who is also here with us. But first, let me run through what we are going to be looking at today on Sunrise and Salt Television. I'm a little bit down emotionally based on what is happening in the country. Sonny, before I do that quick review, how was your weekend?
Well, thank you. We thank God for the new week. We thank God for the first day of December. We wish our viewers a happy new month, happy new week.
Happy new month indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, on the newspaper review this morning, before I bring in Ekene for the intro, we have the Daily Sun, we have the Punch newspaper, we also have the Vanguard, the Guardian newspaper, and of course Leadership newspaper. So to help us in doing the analysis today in the studio, I have Israel Ekene Mbam. Israel, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure. Know that you just came back from burying your dad.
Yeah.
How was the burial?
Yeah. Well, we give God the glory because it was successful, and we are happy. We are seeing the last month of the year, December. Yeah. Believing God for the best of the month. All
right. So sorry for your loss. And like I said before we came on, welcome to the club.
Yes.
Are you half orphan now? Before orphan?
Just half orphan.
Okay. At least you still have one. We are orphanage now.
Yes.
Because we've lost both parents. All right, so let's get down to business. Now we are starting with the Leadership newspaper. It says we have the Oyedele tax numbers not required for strictly personal bank accounts. That is coming from Oyedele. Now you need a tax ID for bank account if it is used for business transactions. If you are not using the account for business, you do not need to attach your tax ID. That is from the Leadership newspapers, the major headline there. And then we also have this side one. It says, Kogi pastor wife orders abducted during church service. We also have presidency of Basanjo. We won't outscore Nigerian security. We won't outsource Nigerian security. That is the president Tinubu replying to Obasanjo's concern or input on that it won't be a bad idea to welcome outside intervention to help in the issue of Nigerian security crisis. Now we go to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper has it here that 42,000 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million Safe School Fund. 42 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million Safe School Funds. If you want to get that, you go to page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. That's what we'll be taking from the Guardian. Now we move over to Vanguard newspaper. Now on the Vanguard newspaper, we have it here. Insecurity, bandits unleash terror in Kogi, Kano, Sokoto, and Kwara states. That is on page 5 of the newspaper. And we have the downlines that says Nigerian schools need security education now. That is by Shoyinka, believe that's Professor Wale Shoyinka there. Be courageous to tackle insecurity. Reconcile Nigerians now. That is Bakare tells Tinubu. We will rescue all Ejiba church victims. That is coming from the Kogi governor. We also have here Nigerian kidnappings. Church confirms 4 children of cactus among victims. This is really a very sad thing to be reading this morning. Then we also have a FDI loses ground despite insult in inflows. And Presidency of Obasanjo, terrorism took roots under your watch. I guess this is the presidency throwing shade at Obasanjo that while he's there in the office, there was the terrorism. All right, delayed trials undermine rule of law. That is Governor Yusuf talking there. And then we also have here mixed reactions. Trail Ikbazu Ugwani orders nomination, and that is ambassadorial nominations. People are looking at it. Abacha loot. EFCC seizes Malami's passports. This is still on the Vanguard newspaper. And I think that's much we can take from the Vanguard newspaper. I think is quite loaded, the Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, now let's move over to the Punch newspaper. We have NNPCL battles 8 trillion naira outstanding debts. Crude oil for loans. NNPCL battles 8 trillion naira outstanding debts. I don't know how we got to that point. All right, and the downline says 213,000 barrels daily withheld for loan servicing. Refinery rehabilitation adds 1.4 trillion to NNPCL's loan burden. That is a serious one. Okay, and we still have there the bandits kidnapped 490 in 2 weeks rampage. 490 citizens have been kidnapped within 2 weeks of the bandits. In fact, they are indeed on rampage. The insecurity, state assemblies move to debate state police. Okay. FG also enters talks on 40% pay rise. All that you will find on the Punch newspapers. I think we'll now move to the Daily Sun. Okay, today on the Daily Sun, they are still having the issue of kidnapped schoolgirls. Parents seek God's help. Hold marathon prayers in Niger. Beg Tinubu Bago to act fast. Wow. I think we have a mouthful as it is. The newspapers are quite loaded. But let us start with the Vanguard newspaper, where bandits unleash terror in Kogi, Kanu, Sokoto, and Adamawa states. Now, Israel, there's a barrage of kidnappings. It appears that in the last 2 weeks, from what one of the papers said, we have 490 citizens kidnapped within 2 weeks. What's going on?
Yeah. Earlier in this program, the issue of Christian genocide came up, and there were different versions to it. Mm-hmm. In this program, I noted that it's not just targeting Christians; it's more of a political attacks. It has gone beyond religious attack in Nigeria to political attacks. The terrorism in Nigeria usually go at its peaks, at its apex during the period of preparing for general election. That raises a question. Where are these terrorists? Where are these bandits within the period of after election, few years after election? Each time Nigeria is preparing for a general election, the issue of insecurity always surfaces, and politicians use it as a campaign strategy. They will tell you, want to fight terrorism, want to ensure that lives and properties are secured in Nigeria. And so the question now is, these attackers, are they coming from which part of the country? What are we doing, the immigration officers? If the arms that they use, are they manufactured within the Nigeria? That's another question. Then these persons, where are their training ground? Where do they stay to perpetrate, to plan and execute this their evil act in the country. About 6 states already attacked within 2 weeks. And then just yesterday or so, the president said he's declaring a national security emergency. And yet we have not seen the effect of this emergency declared by the president. So the question is, why now? Why is it usually a year of months to election? INEC and the National Assembly is proposing an election holding by November 2026. And this issue of insecurity is coming up and all that. And I feel the right thing to be done is our leaders need to tell us the truth. The security apparatus need to tell us the truth. Where are these people coming from? Where do they train? How do they get the arms they use in carrying out this act? Then informants. Okay. One of the attacks within this period, they say they had intelligence report that the school attack, that these people are planning to attack the school. And the governor called on the military to say, please, come and assist us. A program is happening in this school. We need to be around to ensure that the lives of these students are secured. And within the period of the execution, both the police, the army left the environment. What does that tell you? It tells you that we have some hands of Esau in the happenings within
the pot of porridge.
Exactly, the pot of porridge. So it's time our leaders tell us the truth. It's time our security apparatus, those who are manning our security agencies, to rise up and tell us what is actually happening, because I suspect their hands.
All right, Sonny, he has raised a whole lot of questions from what he just gave us. But again, we see this shade being thrown now. The presidency saying to Obasanjo, terrorism took root under your watch. Is this what we should be hearing now? That, okay, if it started happening during Obasanjo's time, or it wasn't like this, and now the man is saying, okay, if you are feeling overwhelmed, don't you think it's about time you also allowed in help to come in? And outside that, Sonny, the speed at which it is happening now is quite scary. It's quite scary. In fact, I learned that one of the kidnappers, a child as young as 6 years, is among those kidnapped. So is this the time that the presidency should be throwing shades of finding lasting solution? Because people are saying, okay, you keep telling us you have rescued people, and bandits come out on air and say they did not, we just decided to release you guys. Your government did not rescue you. It's only our decision to release you, and there is nothing you can do. And they're taking selfies and sending it on air. And just like you mentioned, the particular one where that school happened in, I think in Niger State, the security agents, they were taking selfies just hours before they were pulled out. Nobody has been called. We don't know what happened. Who gave that command? What has happened? If you say you rescued these people, what happened to those terrorists?
Exactly.
Was there exchange of gunfire and all that? So, Sonny, I don't know. My concern is why throwing shades now? What is really, really going on? What should our government be doing right now?
Well, actually, what our government should be doing right now is not to be having challenging persons who raise suggestions. Obasanjo's period, we didn't hear of persons being kidnapped. We didn't hear of bandits rampaging here and there. Neither do we hear of Boko Haram and ISWAP. So there's no need of banters. It's time that calls for action. The government need to move into action quickly and see to the fact that these guys are rounded up. We see what is happening in Chad and Niger. We see that the forces there are not sparing those guys. They are out for those guys to the extent that they can even pursue them into our territory. The Nigerian government should not relax in the name that they are our people, they are our children. That should not be the issue now. The issue is that it's either they drop down their arms and embrace peace, or the needful should be done, to see that all this kind of thing we are hearing and seeing stops. And also in the process of war, there are always tactics. If you could remember a few months ago, these bandits attacked Kaduna Airport. They attacked Kaduna Airport. It was a tactics. So after attacking Kaduna Airport, many persons that were heading to Kaduna refused to go by air. They went by train, only for the bandits now to attack the train and then kidnap many persons. We saw it happen, a few months ago. So what I'm trying to say is that in this theater of war, there could be kind of tactics, which the soldiers, I believe, should also be aware of. They will be posted in a place, and then these guys will come up with one tactics or the other to see that they distract you. They need to understand these kind of activities. Also, some of the persons, individuals, villagers, where these bandits operate, are sympathizers to some of them, because if you look critically, most of them are Fulani people, to be frank. Most of them are Fulani people. And it is easier for them to embark in this kind of business because the Fulanis, they don't reside among populace. They reside in the bushes, and that is where they stay. Most of the Fulanis stays
in the rugas, yeah.
In the rugas. Those of them who stay in the town are no longer regarded as Fulani. They are seen the way they see them. They are as good as Hausas. They are as good as Hausas, even though they still have their Fulani origin, but they are not viewed in that direction. So, and living in that ruga, in the bushes, give them that ability to hide and to do this kind of business. Government should not hesitate, to move into action to see that these guys are rounded up and are disarmed. Also, persons in politics should be monitored. Security agencies should monitor many politicians who want to use this thing as business. In a situation where we are seeing in Katsina, we are hearing that more than 20 local governments
are under siege.
Because of peace talk. So bandits can now move around like normal people, go to market, buy things,
hold meetings.
Nobody disturb them in the guise of peace talk. That is dangerous. That's not acceptable. And so many things could happen. Funds could be smuggled. Funds could be misdirected in the name of security, which could not be questioned. So government should rise to the situation and see that we start recording, recording the fact that these guys are being apprehended.
Okay. Now, Ekene, there was this headline or this story that broke out sometime last week, and it was credited to the Minister of Defense, where he said that they know where these bandits are, but they cannot bomb them for certain reasons. And I'm like, hello, you know where the bandits are, and you are the Minister for Defense, and you're telling us for reasons that are unknown to us, you cannot go there to fish them out. What do you make of that? And then, it brings to mind what Sani Abacha, the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, said, that if there is insurgency that lasts in any country beyond 6 months, that's the hand of that the government is aware, that government officials are involved. And also, during Jonathan's time too, he did say that his government was being compromised, that there were informants, there were those involved in some of these activities are within the government, and people are like, no, you shouldn't have said that now. With what the Minister of Defense has said now, do you think that Jonathan is not justified now, and that what Sani Abacha also said during his time is not justified. What do you make of that? And shouldn't that minister be resigning? I mean, in a same climb, should a minister for defense who knows the kind of problem we are going through come out to say that, yes, we know where these bandits are, but we cannot attack them or for certain reasons? What's the reason?
Well, you know, the minister is the presidency. Whatever a minister says is credited to the government of the country.
Sure.
And so that is to tell you how the government is handling the issue of insecurity in the country. You know, our politicians, our leaders, the so-called political leaders of Nigeria are usually interested in election. And just like Sonny said, these people target a period where they will be given prominence. If it is happening prior to election, general election, then interests from within and outside will be coming to say, what can we do to end this issue of insecurity? Come to think about it. Insecurity attacks has happened in almost 7 states until now. No government, either a state or federal government, have said we have arrested 1, 2, or 3 persons. For over 3 weeks now, you can't hear any government say, yes, we have a suspect in our custody. And that is to tell you they all knew what is happening. In different communities, the politicians will tell you, these are my boys. When they tell you, these are my boys, they arm these boys, and they commit one atrocity or the other, and they will say, let's call Oga. And when we call Oga, Oga will say, leave them, they are my boys. And so that is the level it will get, from the grassroots level down to the local government level, down to the federal level, where the politicians will take pride to tell you, I have boys scattered all over the zones of this country, that what I just need is to give them instruction, and they will now implement whatever instruction we give to them. If these persons committing these crimes, those who master the act of saying this place is safe for us to attack, and you'll be concentrating, the government or the security agencies will be doing their jaborees. You're saying that they are already positions, their personnel in this area. Now there are informants that will tell them attention is already here. Let's leave to these other places. And these things are not done by illiterates. They are done by experts, security experts, intelligence experts. And so the truth must be said that if government wants to flush these bandits, it won't take them 6 months to do that. It's just about sincerity of purpose. But in some cases, they will feel, if we'll get these boys arrested, then who are the people that will execute our dirty games for us? And so how will you tell me that a country that prides itself as giant of Africa, in the military, if you, in years past, Nigeria's soldiers have been going for peacekeeping in Congo, in Mali, in different places, where in Senegal and other places, Sudan and the rest. Yet this same military cannot protect their own citizens. And the government that ought to be pushing these military security agencies to be on their toes are the one telling you, yes, we know where they are, but we can't go after them. The presidency is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If he says, do this, they have no option than to do it. And the president, for me, have not given that reasonable command to the military or the other security agencies. So the truth is, we need to come out clean to say, this is what we are out to do.
Okay, now still talking on political will, because that is the issue now.
Sure.
The lack of political will to implement the necessary actions that needs to be done to arrest this issue of now. So I want you to tie it to this, that 42,000 schools still vulnerable despite $30 million safe school funds. And yet we still have this vulnerability. 42,000 schools. Are we now saying that we want to become mass illiterates Because what you're saying now is that I no longer feel safe to send my child to school. No place is safe anymore. The churches are not safe. The schools are not safe. Now you can't fly, just like you pointed out. They are looking at soft targets. Now, okay, the big man is flying in the air. How many of us can actually afford the tickets, the airfare now to fly? Now you target the airport, you target, I don't know, we are no longer talking about trains anymore. So people are forced to travel by road. And now there's this indiscriminate, it doesn't matter anymore. They just go out and sit on the main road. Any vehicle that is unlucky that comes out at that point, they attack. Now, look at the system now, the school. There's a systematic attempt that has been put in place to ensure that children will no longer go to school. Because if you're telling me that 42,000 schools are vulnerable in Nigeria, hello, what is that saying? And the amount that has been sunk in, $30 million has been sunk in to safeguard these schools, and still we are seeing this spate of attacks and kidnaps.
Well, you see, let me comment on the issue raised by the minister, saying that they cannot. You have to find out that minister, is he a Hausa man or a Fulani man?
He's a Fulani man.
A Fulani man. The Minister of Defense is a Fulani man. The Minister of State for Defense, Matawale, is also a Fulani man. And
the National Security Advisor is also a Fulani man.
So let it not be as if there is a kind of sympathy, that these guys have for them. If there is this sympathy, the kind of gumi sympathy, then that means they fight. It's just on the newspaper and on just declarations. Also, after Trump declared Nigeria of concern, that Nigeria is a place of concern, a country of concern. And
not just concern, particular concern.
The federal government moved into action, to see how they could, be seen to be doing something. But these guys also moved into their own action and began to kidnap people, to shield themselves, and also to negotiate with government. So if government continue to negotiate with these guys, definitely they will continue to rampage, because if it becomes a business of Fulani people, unfortunately, because most of them you see on video, they are all Fulanis. So if it becomes a business, it means that most of those guys in the creek, in the bushes, they will all embark in this kind of business of getting people kidnapped and then taking them to their zone, which I believe is around Zamfara, Sokoto axis. They'll get people from Niger. You'll be in Niger looking for them. They're already in Zamfara, Sokoto axis. So those things should be taken into consideration. And then again, the school safe initiative was introduced in 2014-15 after the issue of the Chibok girl. That was when that issue, the issue of bringing out fund, contributory fund from state government, federal government, and agencies that are, understand the importance of education. So money were brought from different sources. People donated. There were donations. And then to the tune of more than $30 million as of 2020, not up to 2050, 2025. As of 2020.
That's 5 years going.
Yeah, that fund was to the tune of $30 million, which is about 30 billion naira or more than that, about 45 billion naira, if you want to put it to the current exchange rate. So, but since then, government have not been doing anything, tangible. There has not been any tangible thing done to see that schools are actually, secure, because that is the essence of that fund.
Sure.
Is to secure schools, especially schools that are seen to be in vulnerable places, where we have these guys rampaging here and there. But nothing has been done. So you begin to ask questions. The persons that are in the House of Rep within those periods,
what have they been doing?
What question have they been asking? Now, people who have also headed that agency or that organization, that is in charge of that fund, what have they also been doing? Or whoever is in charge of the fund, what have they been doing with the fund? What has been done? So these are questions that media people and the non-governmental organization, civil society organization continue to ask.
And where is the fund?
Where is the fund?
Where is the money?
What was it used for? So most time, our people in governance, money will be accrued for something, it will be diverted, which is a good case of misappropriation. So it's a common thing within our place. People don't see misappropriation as anything, but it's a very serious crime.
It is.
It's a very serious crime.
It is indeed.
So something needs to be done. The House of Rep that initiated this move, they should not waste time. They should move into action.
Yeah, we are good at.
It's unfortunate that it's coming late now, because if the essence of that fund was followed up, I think some of the things we are seeing, around the northern area and north central will not be happening.
All right, now let's move away from the kidnap, and we still go to another challenging story that has been trending since last week, and that is the ambassadorial designates. Now, finally, after almost, we are going 2 years plus now, the government finally came out with a list of ambassadors. And then, interestingly, those that made that list are people of particular concern for me.
Are you the one that designated?
I'm a Nigerian citizen, so I should feel concerned who is going to be representing me, what kind of human being is going to be representing me out there. When you go, you post that person to this country or that country, I should beat my chest and say, yes, I'm going to this country, and I know that I have my ambassador there who will be speaking for me, whom, if I have any problem, can come out and we command the respect that is needed. Now, some of those people from the southeast here, we have Ikpeazu as one. We also have.
Why are you mentioning Ikpeazu first?
No, yes, now they say charity begins at home. Charity begins at home. Now we have Ikpeazu as one. We also have Ugwani. They have made the nomination list. And in my head, I am going, okay, how? What are the antecedents? What did they do while they were here as governors? Go to those states they governed, the people they governed. What was their character? How is their character that you can now nominate them to go and represent us outside the country? And then the big one is the immediate past INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakub. Now, it is not only me. It's there in the public domain. Everybody is saying, is this reward for a job well done? Sure. The 2023 election. Now, what you're now telling us is that, yes, now the man is out there in the public domain. He cannot move freely. In fact, they say he's been domiciled in Aso Rock. Even after the election and all that. Why would people like that make the list? These are people that Nigerians are questioning their character. Are you not telling me that for Yakub Mahmoud, yes, you are rewarding him for a job well done, when it was only during the presidential election that we had glitch? Every other election, there was no glitch. And then the time you made the announcement and all that. So it brings to question, like even the political oppositions, other parties are asking, how can Yakub Mahmoud make that list? Gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Your concern is as good as the concern of every Nigerian. That is to tell you our political settings. They say leaders think of the next generation, but politicians think of the next election. The issue at hand, starting with that of the former INEC boss, is not just targeting him, but the current INEC chairman. Know it that if you do work well, there is a reward for you. So that is a message they are sending to the current INEC boss. You see, this man delivered, and we need to reward him handsomely. And then Ugwanye Ipazo Omokri. Fanika Yode and others, especially those from the faction of the PDP. You know the services they rendered to the current government. They help to destabilize PDP so that the current government will come to power. It's also another message to those who are at the helm now to say, see the way those who sincerely work for us are rewarded. Now, like you said, why waiting? During Buhari's tenure, he stayed for 6 months before constituting his cabinet. And people were saying, maybe he want to get a technocrat, he want to take his time to ensure that the right people are appointed. And when the list came out, people were like, what are we even seeing? So you had these people in mind since 6 months ago. You never told us, because they are still your henchmen, people that work with you, that people already know that they are core politicians, that you can, at the tip of your eyes, say, okay, all of you are ministers. The same thing happened currently. They waited to make sure that these people, maybe they have given them these promises so that the era of political alignment and what have you is already over. They now said, okay, we are done using these people. Let us compensate them. Let them go to their different countries and take. So
we are going to conclude this conversation on Wednesday. But Sonny, before we wrap it up, just in few words, what do you make of this ambassadorial nomination?
Number one is because of the issue we're having with Trump. You know, with USA and other countries who are allied with the United States. The ambassadorial nominees could have been earlier than before now, but they decided to go this way. But remember that in the list you have the career ambassadors and these other politicians who are non-career ambassadors. Another thing you should also look into very well is that our laws, the Constitution, also enable certain things to happen. Had it been that there's a clause that INEC chairman cannot be appointed to another position after serving by the president or by whoever, should go into his private business or return to school where he was teaching, that could have been, these issues could not have been arising. So looking at our laws, they are very important. Morality is a different thing from what the law is saying. So it is immoral, for someone to finish serving immediately and then now you are now appointed as, an ambassador, His Excellency, to represent the country in another country. It's also immoral for somebody who did not achieve anything while he was governor. Almost nothing, everything was down. They are now pushing him to another country to go and sit down, as His Excellency, with immunity. Those things are not, they are not so good. But our laws also, is something that
that's why these laws need to be looked into. The electoral reform and then our constitution. Definitely something needs to be done. Unfortunately, this is how far we're going to go on newspaper review today. But some of the topics we have raised are something